In Hamburg, we have different and several projects regarding food, related to food production. And one in particular that I was actively participating is the vertical farming workshop, in which me and my colleagues designed some vertical farming prototypes. There is also FarmBot project. We are currently participating in a project called Awesome Robot. It's a platform for weeding in a sustainable, without herbicides way. And yes, amongst many other smaller projects, smaller realities, smaller producers and food processors, Hamburg is very involved in the sustainability for food path.
So at Fab Lab Barcelona, the approach that we're taking is that we try to accelerate food innovations and food tech innovations mainly through two tracks. One being through technological readiness levels and the other being through societal readiness levels. So with technological readiness levels, what we like to think about is how do you make an MVP or minimum viable product? So we try to work with innovators that come into the lab through different programs we have, like through Food Tech 3.0 for FoodSHIFT2030, and help them to develop a prototype of the tech that they want to work with. Then on the other hand, we have the side of SRLs, or societal readiness levels. So that gets more to the heart of like how we're making this technology. It's all about, for us, community-driven and citizen-driven technologies. So what we try to do with initiatives is we really try to give them first the understanding of what that means. What does a citizen-driven initiative or community-driven initiative look like? And then help them to gain the tools, gain the skills to actually be able to implement that. So helping them connect with communities, co-create and co-design with those communities, and really build an initiative or an artifact that is going to actually be for and by the community that it's meaning to serve in the long run. And part of that, as well as also teaching or building capacity in the initiatives that we work with and how to communicate about what they're doing. So it's really awesome if you've made an initiative and you already know that it's going to work with a certain community because you've been collaborating with them. But we also like to help upskill our innovators in initiatives and being able to communicate that further, especially when it comes to documenting what they're doing, but also like when it comes to how they're announcing themselves on social media, how they build a narrative and build a brand around what they're doing. All of that goes around to communicating what it is that they're doing so that that knowledge can be transferred. So we try to build capacity in these ways for our food initiatives. But we also try to work on instilling more like a value-based approach, so working with the values of openness, of citizen-driven, ecosystemic, holistic sustainability, and equity and equality. And then when it comes to the actual initiatives themselves, they're really, really broad, okay? So we have initiatives like the EU project ROMI, which is robotics for microfarms, where we're co-designing robotics that are going to be used on microfarms by farmers there, and really trying to understand the needs of the farmers and make tools that are going to be meaningful and useful for them, and also tools that are open source. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have initiatives like Remix El Barrio, which was helping the neighborhood of Poblenou identify a problem, which ended up being food waste, and then helping them to understand what can we do, what types of solutions can we use to tackle this problem. And what ended up emerging was essentially a design collective around food waste, a group of designers that are working now mostly with biomaterials. And then we like to see how we can continue working with innovators. So we had a group called Nye Factory come in with Remix El Barrio. And the first time that they were working with biomaterials was during this project several years ago. And they have, we've kept collaborating with them and kept involving them in the types of work that we do. So they participated in Food Tech 3.0. They also participate in a program called Remix the School. They recently participated doing biomaterials workshops for citizens in the Centrino project that we were working on. And kind of creating these pathways are also ways that we like to try to support food initiatives, is not just come in and participate once and go away, but how can we keep building a relationship and keep finding moments to collaborate.
In Paris, we have a quite large network of organizations working on food and food system. The core team of that Fab City Grand Paris organization, we have Verger Urbain, this is a social organization, trying to imagine the city as a comestible city. We have, on a more focused technological approach, we have CSL Sunny Lab, which work on open source solution for agricultures, but also for food processing, and are working on robots and rovers, are working on cable cams, and you have many projects who try to link all those organizations. I could talk about one project called Food Track. Because maybe it's one of the specificity of Paris today is try to dig the past, to find old practices who have been forgotten, to imagine the futures of the food, and we could say that to remember is to invent. During a year we did portraits of actors in the northeast of Paris, so many initiatives. One quite funny is this idea of a vegetable garden in a tower, but as we know, usually it's a more technical project, but this project called Cité Maraîchère is a social project who tried to develop this idea of production of food in a vertical way with a low-tech approach.